Hello everyone, it's Maggie's Recap. Today I'm gonna tell you about the American science fiction drama Passengers, released in 2016. The lead roles were played by Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. Watch out, they're gonna be spoilers. The distant future, the film takes place in outer space. A space cruise ship Avalon of the corporation Homestead 2 goes on a journey of 120 years. Their main goal is to establish a colony on another planet. About second, the name of the colony is Last Chance for Humanity, as on the Earth it is on the verge of extinction. The ship has a total of 5,000 passengers and 258 crew, and because the flight lasts more than a century, they are all in a state of cryogenic sleep. 37 light years from Earth, the ship enters a cluster of asteroids, one of which breaks through the ship's defenses. The red alarm screens light up in the control area, and then quickly everything returns back to normal. But it becomes clear that something bad has happened. Jim Preston, a mechanical engineer, wakes up in his capsule with the cheerful voice of the non-board computer, who informs him that they will soon arrive at the Homestead 2. He is told that it is normal to feel confused and weak after cryogenic sleep. The bracelet on his hand is scanned, and the computer takes him to his cabin where he sleeps. The next day he wakes up, thinks what to wear when meeting the other passengers, then goes to the cafeteria where there is no one else. He's going to a briefing on the life of the colonists on Homestead. But he is alone there too. The fun instructor created by the computer cannot understand his question as to why no one else is here. Jim goes to the main lobby and gets no help from the information desk. He finds an office where he can send a message to the Homestead office back on Earth. He's warned that sending a message will be very expensive. Jim records it anyway, explaining that he is the only one who is awake and he needs help. But it will take 15 years till anyone on Earth receives this message. He remains alone. All attempts to bring himself back into artificial sleep fail. Jim finds the operating manuals for all the ship's equipment. He's studying hibernation capsule manual, but he can't find a way to launch them again once the person wakes up. He doesn't have access neither to a capsule area to try to wake up someone else and call for help, nor into the ship control center. Resigned to his position, Jim continues to talk to his sole companion, the android bartender Arthur. Jim has nothing left but to spend the rest of his life enjoying all the privileges of this spaceship. He visits rich establishments, lives in luxury apartments, but it doesn't please him and doesn't give him a sense of fullness of life. After a year of loneliness, it slowly begins to drive him mad, and Jim decides to commit suicide. He goes to an area where passengers can put on a spacesuit and go outside while tied to the ship. Jim contemplates suicide by opening an airlock without a spacesuit, but stops himself and runs to the capsule area. He stumbles near the capsule, inside which is a beautiful girl, Aurora. He's looking into her passenger profile, which she recorded before the ship left. The girl is a journalist and goes to Homestead to get new impressions and find out why people choose to move and start the colony. He reads her stories and thinks she's perfect. Jim is constantly thinking about the girl, watching the video with her and sharing his thoughts with Arthur. In the end, he comes up with this: why not to bring Aurora Lane out of stasis prematurely, not waiting for the end of the journey? He's aware of consequences. Aurora will have to live her whole life and die on the ship, but he cannot bear the isolation after a year of loneliness. He decides to do it, and he asks Arthur to wake Miss Lane up. Jim hides, so she won't see him when she wakes up. The same fun computer program wakes Aurora up and lets her to her cabin to sleep. The next day, Aurora wakes up alone and goes to the large lobby where she meets Jim. He tells her the truth about how long he was awake, but doesn't say that he woke her, and asks the robot bartender not to tell Aurora what he did. Arthur agrees. Now the guy and the girl are talking daily, talking about what they can try to do to fix the capsules. On the spaceship, there are only two of them, so not surprisingly that after a while a romance develops between them. Aurora leads a healthy lifestyle, adopting her sport routines to the life on the spaceship, and begins to write her story. She asks why Jim left planet Earth, and he replies that he likes to build and repair things, and on Earth things are no longer be repaired, but simply replaced when they break. He wants to live in a house he built himself. Her plan is to go to colony, spend a year there, talking to the colonists about why they have left Earth and then return to Earth. Aurora is gold-class passenger. She has access to get more privileged services, such as healthier and tastier meals. After some time, Jim asks Aurora out. She agrees. After a dinner, he takes her to a room with the 2 spacesuits. They both put them on and go out into space. Aurora is greatly impressed. After that, they go to Jim's cabin, where they make love. Since then, they are happy and leading a full life. They look after their health, watch the stars, enjoy all the entertainment and restaurants of the ship. 1 more year passes. Jim plans a special surprise for Aurora's birthday. He made her a ring and is going to propose to her. They have a casual conversation with the robot bartender, during which Aurora drops the phrase, "And there are no secrets between us." Arthur asks, "Really?" To what Jim, without thinking, replies, "You've heard the lady." Jim is leaving to prepare the ring. Because of the straightforward interpretation of the nuances of human communication, Arthur takes this literally as a lifting the ban on secrets between the couple and tells Aurora that Jim has awakened her. The robot says what a good choice Jim made to choose her to wake up. Aurora is reasonably devastated and enraged, telling Jim to stay away from her. She ignores Jim in every way, refuses to cross corridors or dining room, and one night attacks Jim while he was asleep, beats him up, grabs a tire iron, swings, but hesitates to hit him. At the same time, the man doesn't resist because he realizes how terrible was his act. The only thing they agreed on was the order of speaking to Arthur. Jim plants a tree in the middle of the lobby of the guest house in order to make things a little better. The ship increasingly malfunctioning, and the outcome of the mission is in jeopardy. Jim and Aurora are noticing such little thing as malfunctioning of the cleaning robots. 2 years after Jim awakens, one of the crew members, Gus Mancuso, wakes up. The capsules have never been malfunctioning like this before. Gus explains that something very serious should have happened. With his bracelet, they get an access to the command center, where they discover that the ship automatic diagnostics are out of order and they need to check each deck manually. While Gus runs tests, there is a serious gravitation failure and Aurora almost drowns in the pool. Gus discovers that a cascade malfunction has occurred, and the computer can create a timeline that shows that the first malfunction occurred 2 years ago. Gus determines that the first few faults caused a relocation of power. The system wanted to equalize the load, but the load became too heavy, causing more and more disruption. The ship is in danger of being completely de-energized in the middle of space. As a result, all of the crew and passengers will die. The first affected area is around the main engine, but the heroes will have to conduct a manual check to determine where. All the awakened begin to look for a malfunction. At this point, Gus loses consciousness, and Jim and Aurora take him to infirmary, where they place him in a medical diagnostic scanner. There are mole-type necrosis all over his body, and death is imminent due to a faulty capsule in which he slept. Gus puts on his uniform and prepares to die. He gives his bracelet with all access to Jim and Aurora. The heroes decide to forget about their conflict and work together to save the ship. In the engineering section, Jim and Aurora find a hole made by a meteor that damaged the reactor. When they open the door, Aurora almost gets sucked into the outer space. The manual override fails, and Jim has to go into space to fix it. As a result, he has to enter the exhaust channel to move the flap of the emergency plasma ejection system. Aurora, desperate not to lose Jim, confronts him on the radio, but pulls the lever. Unexpectedly, the plasma begins to flow towards Jim, damaging his spacesuit. Plasma breaks the ship's tether, and Jim flies away to the outer space. He tells Aurora goodbye. She herself put on a spacesuit and goes to save him. She finds Jim, grabs him by the leash, but when they get inside, he doesn't react. She takes him into the infirmary, and the computer doctor reports Jim's death. Aurora is using Gus's bracelet and his code to force computer to resuscitate Jim, and it works. Jim wakes up and suddenly has the idea that this capsule can put people into cryogenic sleep. He offers to do this to Aurora, but she refuses. She wants to spend the rest of her life with her beloved. 88 years later, all the sleeping passengers wake up and see that Aurora and Jim have ennobled the ship, have taken down some constructions, planted trees, and took care of animals. Passengers also find a book that Aurora wrote about their story with Jim. The book says that you do not need to wait for a right moment. Even when the whole world is about to crash right on your head, you can build a happy future yourself with the support of loved ones.
Hell of a life. Hell of a life.
Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the new videos. Press the like button if you enjoyed the retelling, and of course write in the comments what do you think about the movie and how would you react if you were in the same situation as Jim and Aurora. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.